I'm like, yeah, they got a really slow epoxy, but it's due to having the hit insert in there. They're like, well, that sucks. I'm like, well, I didn't tell you to buy them. Welcome back to the channel, boys and gals. I'm your host. I'm just kidding. I don't ever start a video off like that. No, that's not me. Usually it starts off with, I got some new shit. And I did. Brand new 2025 Easton Max FMJs. And let me go ahead and tell y'all something. The number one selling point for the OG, as I'm going to call it now, FMJs from Easton, is also the number one deterrent for people buying the FMJs. And it was due to how heavy they were. Some people really like that heavy ass arrow. Some people did not. And especially if you're a shorter draw length, lower poundage person, I can understand why you wouldn't want. But I guess somebody got a bug stuck in their ear about all the heavy arrows and this, that, and the other that FMJ has been producing with Easton, or Easton's been producing with the FMJ series, excuse me. They said, okay, we listened, we're gonna do something a little different, and that's what they did with the FMJ Max series. And let me go over some specs with you. So these are gonna be available in the 5mm, which I have here, and a 4mm, which I do not have here. That'll be a video for later on down the road. The FMJ Max 5mm match grades, which like I said, that's what I have here in front of me, are gonna be available from a 200 spine, there you go, Josh Bomar, down to a 400 spine. A 200 spine is gonna be coming in at a whopping, where's my GPI? Oh, it's right next to the spine. 13.3, so really heavy there, but keep in mind, if you need a 200 spine, you're pulling a lot of weight and you're very tall, so it's not gonna make that big of a difference because that's what's designed for, those particular specs. Long draw length, higher poundage, all that good jazz. A 250 spine is gonna be 11.3, a 300 spine is gonna be a 10.3, a 340 spine, which is gonna be the vast majority of the sales in this arrow, is gonna be a 9.8, so that's still a little heavier than normal, but we'll go back to the OG FMJ here in a second and I'll show you why. And then it's also gonna be available in a 400 spine coming in at a 9.0 GPI. So just for fits and giggles, I wrote down the OG FMJ specs, just the 300 and the 340 spine. So a 300 spine in the OG FMJ is going to be a 12 GPI, and the FMJ Max in the 300 spine is going to be a 10.3. So it's already almost 2 whole grains per inch lighter than the original FMJ. And then a 340 spine in the OG FMJ is going to be an 11.3, and then in the new FMJ Max, in a 340 spine, it's going to be a 9.8 like I just read. So that's going to be one of the main differences right there. So if you've always wanted to shoot an FMJ with the aluminum over the core carbon, as they call it, but you've never wanted to give up that much feet per second, then this may be a great option for you. So on the match grade series, it looks, let's see, let me read this. So these are going to come standard with the 8/32 insert / the hit collar, which I am not a fan of. And no, it's not because of performance. It's not because it's aggravating to find a field tip that fits flush, which that's part of it. It's the fact that it takes about 8 to 12 hours, depending on who you ask, of dry time using the Easton 2-part epoxy. So if you're somebody building your arrows at home and you got all the time in the world and you're not in a big rush, it's a great option. But from a shop standpoint, something I've run into is people are, they want to buy the Easton arrow. Easton, I think it's the only American made arrow anymore. People want to support Easton, that's great. Then when they look at the 5mm option, I'll cut the arrows, this, that, and the other, and they'll say, hey, go ahead and screw me in some broadheads. I'm like, hey, can't do that right now. These need to lay flat for, like I said, 8 to 12 hours before you can shoot them. They're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, they got a really slow epoxy, but it's due to having the hit insert in there. They're like, well, that sucks. I'm like, well, I didn't tell you to buy them. Like I said, depending on which one you're going to buy, it's going to come with the hit insert or the hit insert and the hit collar, which I do like a little bit more. But I tell you what I love a lot more than both is now there's an option for a new 50 grain stainless one-piece half out. I don't know why it took me so long to get all those words out. I do apologize. I was running out of air like I was a rapper. New 50 grain steel one-piece half out. There we go. That sounded more me. So what does that mean? I wish I had one here to show you, but they sent me the one with the stupid hits and the collar, so I can't show you. But basically, a lot of other arrows have it, and Easton has it on. Wait, do they have it on another? No, now that I think about it, that new actually means new. That's so on all their other half out options, now I think about it, it's kind of a one-piece half out, but it's kind of like the collar sleeves over the outer front of the arrow to protect it, which I do like that as well. But now that I think about it, and judging from the picture, yeah, so it's going to look similar to some of the other half outs out there that other arrow manufacturers offer, kind of like Victory, and actually it looks a lot like the one from Black Eagle that they use on the Rampages, and the what's the other one that starts with an R? Renegades. Which with that kind of componentry system, all you gotta do is hit it with some G5 blue glue or any fast adhesive glue, slide it in, wipe it off, screw your fuel tip in, go practice, go side in, go hunt that evening. At least that's the idea. So aesthetically, I really like this. They kind of went like an OD dark green. It looks obviously new school, not necessarily old school. They kind of brightened up. Wow, hey, how's your mama name? They kind of brightened up the lettering on there, so you can definitely tell who makes this arrow and which series it is. And as always, it's got the GPI and the spine right here in plain white, and they got a serial number in case I don't know why they do that. So here's what I'd like to do, because Easton has always done a very phenomenal job of having some really tight, consistent tolerances, some very consistent GPIs. I'd like to weigh all 12 of these shafts with the nocks in them, without the components. We might do that in here in a second, straight out of the bag that they came in. I forgot to mention, you know, the whole deal breaker with archery in general is the price. For 12 of these, with the hit collars and the hit insert, you're looking about $224 retail, and that's for bare shafts. You either have to pay somebody to fletch them or fletch them yourself. I don't know right off the top of my head how much the pre-fletched are going to be, but if I believe I read earlier, a 6-pack of pre-fletched can either come with the AAE Max Stealths, or I think it might have been the Boning Vanes, Blazer Vanes. Don't quote me on that. You can check their website, which I'm there, but I'm in a different spot, so I can't look. But if I had to guess, they're probably going to retail for around 130, 120 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark. Did want to check to see what the length of these were. If they tells me on this Ziploc bag. Actually, it's not even a Ziploc bag. It's just a bag. Nope. Micro diameter, full metal jacket, carbon. Yeah, whatever. Don't worry, Easton, I got a tape measure y'all can borrow. I'm gonna measure this bad girl from carbon to carbon, or aluminum and carbon, whatever you wanna call it. Just coming in shy at 32. What is knock to carbon, just for fits and giggles? Knock to carbon is about 32, a little over 32 1/4. All right, let's throw it on our last chance archery 2.0 grain scale. That was a mouthful. She said, not really. If she did say that, she lied. Alrighty, and I will be keeping score on each individual arrow shaft, just so we can kind of see how consistent or inconsistent it is towards the end. If I could find the middle, that would be great. So total weight of that one is 326.7. Let me write that down, 0.7. And moving on to the next one. Let's see here, oops. 325.3, so not bad there. 25.3. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Stay. 326.2. 26.2. So that's all pretty close so far. Let's see here. 326.2. 0.2. Make sure this bad girl zeroes out. Yep, don't need to recalibrate just yet. Ooh, 326.2. That's impressive. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows. So this will be 6. We're halfway there. 326.2. Okay, Lord. Let's see here. Oh my. 26.2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, that are exactly the same down to the decimal. Oh, that's pretty snazzy. That one's off just a little bit. 325 on the dot. And 326.5. We got 3 more to do, folks. We rolling. Let's see, yeah. 324.9. Well, that one was disappointing. Let's see here. 26.1. And the last one, 325.5. All right, let's see. So looking for my math right here, pretty much every one of these arrows is within about a grain and grain and a half at the very most of each other, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like there was another one. I might have wrote down the wrong number. There was at least 5, if not 6, that were the exact same total arrow weight down to the decimal. Those were the ones where we had a hot streak of 326.2. There was one, 324.9 was the furthest one off and the lowest grains total. And it looks like 326.7 was pretty much the highest. So yeah, that's damn. Now here's what these are gonna allow you to do. And actually, before I get into that, the number one complaint I get about these arrows from customers is once they bend, you can't reuse them. Well, it's very arguable. I haven't done any official testing, but I have shot FMJs before, not a whole lot. And obviously I've shot majority just pure carbon arrows. And I think it's pretty safe to say that the amount of force and kinetic energy it takes to bend an FMJ to the point where it won't go back to its regular straightness is the same force that it takes typically to crack a 100% carbon arrow shaft. So my advice would be stop shooting rocks, practice more so you don't shoot bone, because it's not like these are necessarily more brittle or less tough than a 100% carbon arrow shaft. No, I don't believe that whatsoever. I'm trying to think what I was about to start talking about before I went on that rant. Oh, FOC, being lighter arrow. The problem with the OG FMJs is they were such a high GPI, you had to put a massive ton of weight on the front of the arrow in order to get your FOC up so that the arrow would tune a little bit better, or a lot better actually. And that's where some guys were ending up, you know, with well over 500 into 600, and some guys probably ended up with a 700 grain GPI arrow depending on what spine they went with. But with these being a lower GPI and having all the cool features and toughness, in my opinion, of an FMJ arrow, you're able to get a higher FOC without going into that 600 grain or even 550 grain total arrow weight. So in my opinion, are these a great option for a whitetail, muley, bear hunter, hog hunter, elk hunter? Yes, absolutely, 100%, especially if you're pulling less than 70 pounds and you're not a 29.5, 30-inch draw. These are gonna get you where you need to be, regardless of where you wanna be. I know some of y'all want a 700 grain arrow, but you know what? I want my own personal helicopter, but that ain't happening. Thank y'all again so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it in this little break where nobody was in the shop, and looks like somebody's about to walk in right now. So I will leave a link to our website in the description. If you want these, like I said, we did have limited stock, and I think we only got them in 340 spine. What are these? Yeah, 340 spine. Drop it in the comments what arrow you'd like to see a review on next. Thank y'all. I'll go ahead and drop it in the comment section what product or arrow you would like to see a review on next, and you might see it on the next video.